This episode of Destructoid is brought to you by DirecTV. Coming up on Destructoid, Capcom announces a new Strider game, Earthbound is bound for the Wii U, and Nintendo may have yet more Seaman in the pipeline. All that and more right now on Destructoid. Welcome to Destructoid. I'm Tara Long.
And I'm not Max Scoville, or the editor of Rolling Stone.
Yes, which is probably a good thing right now, actually.
Yes, it is.
So Adam Sessler is here joining me. Both Max and our producer are conveniently ill and on vacation at the same time.
I love to take trips to illness.
Yes.
It's fun there with all the microbes and the bacteriums.
Yes. You may have also noticed that we are not live today because of the aforementioned reasons, but we do have a recorded episode.
Yeah.
Why don't you start us off with the latest news?
And this is news about Nintendo that makes me smile, believe it or not. Okay, leading things off, Nintendo has finally released Earthbound for the Wii U Virtual Console. The House of the Year of Luigi stated back in April it was coming, and now they've actually followed through.
Wow.
Now, some of you may have heard all these endless pleas for this classic SNES game, but you may be wondering, why is it such a big deal? This title is about 20 years old. It has maintained a stranglehold on people's nostalgia. And for a simple reason. It's really, really weird and unique. Look, you play in a modern urban setting that's pretty much America, and you try to save it from aliens, but you're using household items, and you're sometimes fighting hippies, or as I like to call it, visiting my parents in Berkeley.
Oh.
While this sounds remarkable when compared to contemporary JRPGs, Earthbound, or Mother 2 as it was known in Japan, it really stood out back then, 1995, against the onslaught of truly unremarkable titles in the genre. And to be honest, the deadpan irreverence might be a nice tonic to the dour seriousness of most games these days as well.
Yeah.
So, it's $9.99 on the Wii U Virtual Console as of right now. There is no mention, though, about the Japan-only Game Boy Advance title Mother 3, if that's going to make it over, but this might be one indication that that long-awaited possibility could become a reality.
Yeah, I saw people complaining on my Twitter today about the price of this game, $9.99, which I feel is a little bit unwarranted.
We finally got it. Yeah, $10 might be a little much. There's a fair amount of game there, and I'm going to make an assumption that this was not the easiest port to bring over. But people complaining on Twitter, that's strange.
Yeah, I know, so strange, right? Well, speaking of games that not many of us were expecting, Seaman, one of the weirdest games ever conceived, may be getting a follow-up. We've actually been hearing rumors about this for a while now, first in 2010. Yeah, thank you. I had to flex my Photoshop skills because Max wasn't here. We first heard about this in 2010 when series creator Yuta Saito tweeted about the possibility of a Seaman game on the 3DS. And then we heard about it then again last year when a Japanese website published a report about Nintendo claiming that they planned to revive Seaman on the handheld console alongside a number of other established franchises. Well, fast forward to this week when Nintendo conveniently filed 2 trademarks in Japan, one for a game entitled Mysterious Pet: Legend of the Fish with a Human Face, and another one for Mysterious Partner: Legend of the Fish with a Human Face. Yeah, that's all the information we have to go on, but it's probably safe to assume that those are Seaman related, considering, the distinct lack of human-fish hybrid games lately and ever, really. I actually feel like the 3DS is the perfect platform for this kind of game. I don't know if it really holds up well on an actual full-screen television because it is such a strange and weird game and slightly boring at parts. But if they don't bring back Leonard Nimoy for the third one, I'm gonna throw my 3DS into a garbage can and light it on fire. That is my threat to you, Nintendo. You have power here, use it.
Mysterious Partner.
Yes.
Now that they have the trademark, I can't play that game that I like to play when I finish a bottle of bourbon at 11:30 at night.
So. Too much
all right,
information out of
continuing today's trend of finding life where the ghost was given up long, long ago. Stop looking at me about giving up the ghost. It's Capcom's Comic-Con announcement about the return of Strider at long last. For the two of you that needed that closure. Okay, I do kid. Strider was an extremely cool action platformer arcade game back in 1989. That's how I used to play games back in 1889. Look at that. See, I'm old. This is the death rattle happening, kids. Okay, that's when Capcom could pretty much do no wrong. You know, Street Fighter, I guess earlier was Ghosts and Goblins. Anyway, it spawned a few sequels, most recently in 1999, and now it's getting what appears to be an honorable treatment that looks quite pretty and does not abandon the side-scrolling gameplay in favor of that nifty 3D thing that the kids are going on about, the like go in 4 different directions and y-axes, and I don't need that nonsense. The game, which apparently does involve some of the franchise's original creative team, is being produced at Double Helix. They are best known for the reboot of Killer Instinct, and they are less known for the Buffy the Vampire Slayer game. Apparently, Strider does use a, quote, massive interconnected world rather than traditional linear gameplay. I have no idea what that means, but if I can jump and hurt things, I'll be okay. Okay, I'm never going to be okay, but this won't hurt like a proctology exam.
Nope.
I'm going to probably need one of those. I'm getting old.
Still too much information, Adam. This actually looks really good, I think.
I know, no, it's really, really pretty. And you know, not the 3D version of Bionic Commando, but the 2D version, the side-scrolling, it was actually, you know, it was polygonal.
Yeah.
They did quite well with that. I kind of like them revisiting this. Maybe they might do Ghosts and Goblins again. Capcom.
Don't bank on it, but it's a nice thought. Speaking of nice thoughts, Ubisoft made some waves earlier this year when they decided to delay the already finished Rayman Legends so they could release it on multiple platforms at the same time. That's not really a nice thought, but I had to do a segue, so you understand. You might have thought that they were just waiting around until September 3rd, twiddling their thumbs and smoking fancy French cigarettes, but you would be wrong. It turns out they've actually added a bunch of new content to Rayman Legends, which series creator Michel Ancel is now calling the biggest Rayman game ever. I like that quote. It's a quote I can get on board with. Ubisoft actually held an event for the game here in the city last week. I was out on vacation, so I begrudgingly sent Max in my stead. Destructoid Steven Hansen was also there, and he got his hands on one of the new multiplayer mini-games called Kung Foot. This is a 2 to 4 player competitive mode that's basically like a pared down version of soccer, kind of like Bari Bari Ball, that Sports Friends game. Yeah, very simple. Steven said the mode was fabulously fun, while Ansel called it an excellent drinking game, which is all the convincing that I need. This was, interestingly, actually created as just sort of a fun game for the employees to play when they had some downtime at work, and they ended up liking it so much they put it in the game.
I like how in their downtime, it's like, let's make another game just for you and me there, buddy.
Exactly.
That's a good use of time. I can't tell.
I guess it's a good use of time because it ended up coming to us, so no complaining here. They've also added some invasion levels, which are additional 60-second challenges that accompany each of the game's main levels, and the idea here is that you have to rescue 3 teensies who are strapped to a bottle rocket within 60 seconds before the rocket launches, and then Dark Rayman will also appear in some sort of, or in some of the later levels and start chasing you. So that's probably terrifying. They've also added new 3D bosses at the end of each world, along with 40 Rayman Origins levels that were handpicked. These are apparently the team's favorite levels from Rayman Origin, but they've been remastered using the UbiArt engine, and they've also added Murphy into some of the levels to take advantage of all the interactive functionality, which is pretty cool. All in all, I am fucking stoked for this game. And hey, the wait's gonna be over soon, finally. This is out on September 3rd for Wii U, 360, PS3, and the PlayStation Vita. I know you're excited about this.
I'm so excited. I love Ancel. I love Rayman. All I want now is kind of the theme as we're running through it. Take Rayman 2, Great Escape, which I love so much, and give it one of them HD remix, slap the shiny on it type treatments. And then, I'll just pretend I'm in France.
Yeah, exactly. That would be perfect for the 3DS also, actually. So we're gonna take a second to thank our sponsor, and then we will be back with more news. With over 185 HD channels and on-demand access to thousands of shows and movies, DirecTV offers the ultimate entertainment experience for your home. Packages start at just $29.99 a month, and users get access to over 10,000 shows and movies on demand, which you can watch on your television, your cell phone, your laptop, or your tablet, pretty much everywhere. They've also got some great promotions going on right now that get you HBO, Showtime, Cinemax, and Starz free for 3 months, along with a free Genie upgrade that lets you connect up to 4 rooms and record 5 different shows all at once with 3 times more HD recording power than cable. There you go. Best of all, because you watch our show, we are going to hook you up with an exclusive discount. Just visit directsattv.com/Destructoid to get $10 off most of their monthly subscription packages every month for a whole year. That's like $120 in savings, right? Math, everyone. Again, that link is directsattv.com/Destructoid. Every sign up helps support the show, and you get to watch cool stuff in the meantime. It's win-win, really. All right, back to the show. So the OUYA launched last month, if you recall. Some of you might not. It was pretty under the radar. Well, apparently the retail launch went pretty well. They sold out all of their OUYA units on Amazon. They're obviously back now because it's a month later. And in an effort to combat any buyer's remorse, the OUYA team is launching a Kickstarter matching campaign this August. What this means is that they plan to match any successful Kickstarter campaigns that garner between $50,000 and $250,000 in pledges, with one very important caveat. The developers must make their game an OUYA exclusive for the first 6 months at least. And whatever studio gets the highest amount of donations also gets like a $100,000 bonus. I know you have some thoughts on this.
Yes, I have some thoughts. Okay, obviously I've not been too bullish on the OUYA, but putting that aside, I think it sounds better than it actually is. Obviously, they're trying to get new content. I like it how it's like, I think it's called the Free the Games campaign, except the actual practice of it is exactly the opposite because you're locked into OUYA for 6 months. You know, the money is kind of apportioned over time. And it sounds like, and this came from an article that Patrick Klepek wrote over at Giant Bomb, he talked to a handful of developers that seemed to be less than enthusiastic about it. I think that 6 month period where you're on the OUYA console, if you look at what happens in this kind of game space, there's a lot of cloning that goes on.
Yeah.
So you're stuck on one device as people might be making some kind of copy of it, and when you're finally freed from that, you're out there trying to compete against yourself ostensibly out there in the marketplace.
That's true, actually. And from the consumer side, I'm wondering what happens to the people who buy into these Kickstarter campaigns and then, you know, like assume it's going to launch on PC or some other platform, only to find out that like they reached the goal that they need, and now it's going to be an OUYA exclusive for 6 months. Like,
also, 50 grand's a pretty high threshold for like a completely unknown developer.
Yeah.
So I mean, this really seems to be favoring established names, which goes back to my point: to established names want to exist exclusively on the OUYA for 6 months. I mean, only time's going to tell on this, but once again, it's one of those, just like the OUYA itself. Great in concept, I get more questionable when it comes to the practice.
Yeah, it seems like this one benefits the OUYA the most of all the parties involved.
Yes, I think. Yes. You know what? Good for them for thinking about themselves.
Exactly.
In this instance.
Excellent strategery, everyone. Well, that is all the time we have for today's show. Once again, I apologize that we cannot be live today, and I promise we will be next week when Zach and Max are finally back from their Love Boat cruise. Thank you, Adam, as always, for joining us. Are you going to be on here next Tuesday?
I will be here on Tuesday pretending to be Max yet again.
Yes,
I think I did a wonderfully horrible job of that.
Yes, you did a great job. I like your drawing in particular.
Yeah, I drew letters.
Yes. Good job, Adam. Where can people find you if they want to find you on Twitter?
At Adam Sessler. That's actually me. That's not me if you try to do that on Facebook. Just
yes, not Adam Sessler. I'm Tara Longest, of course, and the show is a Detoid Show. Have an excellent weekend, everyone. Be safe. Don't do crack, and we will see you back here next Tuesday. Good night.